Hello, everybody, and welcome back to this week's review of Bleach, the Weekly Shonen Jump edition. Like I said, they did come out yesterday and a week previous for everybody. You know who does, because you follow the scanlation sites if you read that leaked material. So this is already old to you, but like I say, so let's go ahead and get into this Bleach, and we're gonna start off here. And note that it says June 4th, 8:22 p.m. Naruki City. Okay. So everybody remember these times and these dates as they are going to play an importance. What importance? We're going to find out. Okay, so we start off with we see a couple of Shinigami in the human world and they're off there noting that the last day it rained the last day that the last guy died from before him too. So it's kind of creepy. So what we have here throughout this chapter, going back from all the previous ones, if you've noted Ichigo with his Zanpakuto and how it does not, whenever he has, his cloudy decisions, he has doubts or he has very negative emotions. It rains in his inner world, and Zangetsu hates the rain. And so we did get we got a lot of, I believe a lot of relevant information, and we're going to see exactly why. I do believe we're going to see how the rain correlates to not only Zangetsu, but you know, because everybody already read the chapter and you saw the end. So let's continue on. And what they've noticed that Captain Sheep was there, and they're having they're having a little conversation, and what he's saying is that he's saying, I guess I got here at the perfect time. I wasn't wasting my time good. And they're like, what are you doing here? He's saying, I got lost looking for a bathroom. And they're like, that's the worst lie ever. He's like, oh yeah, if it rains tonight, you guys can leave. I like to pee in peace. And he says that with a very serious look on his face. And so obviously he's meaning business right about now. And so we're going to the next scene, and this is Bleach chapter 530, Everything But the Rain, Op 3. And we note that the same day it's 8:36 p.m. in Karakura Town. Okay, we see the Ishida name at the Ishida household, and we see Masaki again, and she's eating her dinner. And what we see here is I mean, Ryukin's mother asking, how everything went at school, how was your day? And she's like, nah, I didn't mean that school. She was like, I meant, how about Siren, the holy training? Okay, the holy training. Now, the holy training, I'm just going to go ahead and speculate that the holy training is the similar path to, it was along the line, no, I can't say that. I can't say it's the exact same as the Vandenreich, because if you remember and you go back, Soken did not, Soken Ishida did not believe in the new methods that they were using, or at least, the that other holy form that they now use as opposed to the Let's Steal version. If you remember when Kierge was talking about how, he followed the old ways and he didn't like the new advances that they were doing. So I can't, I don't want to say that this is that similar training. Maybe something similar. Maybe if I would say something, I would say maybe at least the blue vein or artery. But it very well could be that exact training, and it's just that Soken chose not to follow that path, And we know as well that Uryu followed his grandfather's teaching. So in Ryu, if they do, and if this is that exact same training, you can already go ahead and assume that Ryukin does know it, and so if Uryu is going to be taught it, Ryukin is going to be the one to teach it to him. So let's continue on. And she goes on. She says, "Oh, Cyrene's been going pretty good, I guess." And his mother's like, "What do you mean pretty good?" She's like, "I'm sorry." And Ryukin's mother is going on to explain it. Do you understand the situation you're in? Your predecessors passed away and you have no siblings. You're the only remaining member of the Kurosaki family. We're taking care of you only because you're a fellow Quincy. And she's like, yes, I understand. This meal is delicious. And his mother was getting ready to yell, and what we see here, Ryukin, he's like, mother, please stop. They can hear you from outside. You see him younger, obviously. He still has he has his glasses on. He's still the same serious-looking guy that we see later on. As as an adult from early on in the beginning of Bleach. And she's going back to her room. Okay, and they're going to go ahead and prepare his dinner. And he asks, he says, "Where's father?" And hold on, give me one moment here. And what this says, it says at the fifth field, which is translated to, it's like fun fifth field. Yeah, I know I messed that up, but it's called the fifth field. I too would like to know when he'll be back. She notes, and we're gonna go ahead and continue on. You see Ryukin, it's like, Masaki, I'm sorry, please forgive my mother. She's taking her loneliness out on you. And she's like, oh, come on, Ryu. There's nothing for me to forgive, 'cause I'm not angry. It's not something you should worry about. Dinner was great. I'm going back to my room. And she says, the shrimp gratin was great tonight. I'll eat it if you don't want any. And she leaves. She's like, bye. And what we see here is one of the maids, and she's like, sir, dinner is ready. May I begin serving? He's like, yeah, please do it. Katagiri. And he's like, and he strikes up a conversation with Katagiri. And she's like, yes, sir, what can I do for you? And he's like, Masaki knows the only reason she was brought here to the family is because mother wants to protect the purity of the Quincy blood in the Ishida family. Knowing that, would she truly be happy marrying me? And she's like, young master, you believe happiness is a requirement in a Quincy marriage? You are so kind. That kindness of yours is enough to make Miss Masaki happy. And Ryukin is like, don't be silly. There's nothing about me that's kind. I want Masaki to be happy because without happiness, you can't set your sights to the future. Not ours, but the future of the Quincy's. And so we go on, we see a raindrop, and we know that it's starting to rain in Naruki City, and it's like it's coming down hard. And you see the other two Shinigami, they're talking to each other like, what do you want to do? I know he told us to leave, but are you crazy? Go back where? To the Soul Society. We'll be punished for that. Let's just stay hidden from here from now. It'll be fine if we leave it to the captain. And what we see is Ishin is thinking to himself, he's like, the fact that Soul Reapers are being targeted means they're going after us or they're attracted to high spiritual pressure. Maybe I can lure them out with my spiritual pressure. And so he grabs his sword, and he takes his stance, and he releases his spiritual pressure. And they're known like, whoa, this is Captain Sheep with spiritual pressure. So he releases a pretty good amount of spiritual pressure. And in the very next scene, we see one of the Shinigami. Yeah, that was a pretty gruesome way to go. You see his face cut off from the, let's say from the, it's like his face was cut in half from like the nose area on down. And we see they were taken into like a little building there. So both of them are gone, and we see Sheen. He's like, damn it, they didn't respond to high spiritual pressure. And what we see here is what makes this chapter so interesting. At the very end here, we see this, what I'm just going to go ahead and say is a Vasto Lorde, the top of the hollows. And Ishin is like, what the hell is that? And what is so interesting about this hollow is that it has the exact same mask as Ichigo when he fought Ulquiorra in his second release form after, Ulquiorra had punched a hole in him, and he was listening to Orihime cry for help, and he was like, I gotta help, I gotta protect her, I gotta protect her. And when we saw the hair, I mean, everything is very similar from you see the hole, like I said, the hole in his chest, the long hair, the mask, the horns, everything looks exactly the same. And for hands, they look exactly like Tensei Zangetsu's blades on both of his hands. And so his legs, they look a little bit, let's see. Yeah, so it's like his body is, just from this, it's like it's black at the bottom. And so he has like the armor, similar armor. So this right here gives us a good idea of what Ichigo is regarding how his hollow and how he got his powers of the highest class from the hollow ranks. Because, and obviously I'm just gonna go ahead and assume that when Masaki met Ishin, that this is what he was fighting and what she came in, because everybody was speculating. And, you've all heard the theories, right, about, from how either Ishin has some of that Vasto Lorde spiritual pressure, or Masaki has it, or perhaps both of them would definitely have some of that, the spiritual pressure and the essence of that Vasto Lorde, because they did engage in combat in it with it. One can assume. And so, yes, Bleach will be on break next week. So, but this was a good, it gives you something to think about for a good solid week without, you won't be disappointed at all. But this is very interesting, and I mean, just looking at this hollow, yeah, this is pretty exciting. I mean, what we see here, this hollow, and it's the exact same as Ichigo. So I believe that everything, all of the well, not loose ends, but the rest of the story is coming together regarding Ichigo, and this is important because I believe that once he hears the complete story, once he finds his roots and he knows everything, that once we see him begin his training, for his powers, for his overall complete powers, that we're going to see something that we haven't seen before, a brand new form, not only, which is going to involve all of his powers. So I believe that that's going to be, it's going to take some chapters in a while to get there, but it's going to be very exciting. So anyway, I'll go ahead and wrap this up. Like I said, I hope everybody has a great week ahead, and take care and be safe out there. Bye.